Space was silent, cold, endless. Captain Raylan moved through it every day, but today felt different. He sat alone in his small spaceship, the Sparrow, watching stars pass by. He was on a supply run between two outposts, just another boring job. But then, something strange happened. A sound, not just any sound, a cry. Raylan blinked. What was that? The sound repeated. A soft, echoing cry. It came through the old communication channel, one no one used anymore. He quickly turned a few knobs and adjusted the signal. A weak voice. A sob. Not human. Is this a trick? He whispered. He checked the coordinates. The signal came from a wreckage field deep in Sector 9. That area was marked dead space. No one lived there. No one should be there. Raylan stared at the screen. Should I go? Most pilots would. Ignore it. It was dangerous. But Raylan couldn't ignore a cry for help. Especially not one that sounded so. Lost. He changed course and flew toward the sound. The wreckage field looked like a graveyard. Broken ships, metal floating in space, pieces of old satellites. All dead, but in the center was a small alien vessel. Cracked open like an egg. Smoke floated around it. Raylan carefully docked and stepped inside. Suit on. Weapon ready. He moved slowly, quietly. Then he heard it again, a soft cry. He turned the corner and stopped. There, in the corner of the ruined ship, was a little girl. Not human. Her skin was light blue. Her eyes were glowing softly, full of tears. She was no older than 6 or 7. Thin, scared, shivering. She looked at him. He froze. So did she. They stared at each other in silence. Raylan slowly knelt down, placing his weapon on the floor. He removed his helmet so she could see his face. It's okay, he said gently. I won't hurt you. The girl said nothing, but her eyes, they showed fear and hope mixed together. He took a step closer. Are you hurt? She shook her head. Where are your parents? He asked. She didn't answer, just lowered her eyes. And tears fell again. Raylan's heart tightened. She was alone. Completely alone. I'm taking you with me, he said softly. You can't stay here. He reached out his hand. For a moment, she didn't move. Then, slowly, she touched his hand. Her fingers were cold, but a strange warmth flowed through them. A small spark passed between them, not painful, but powerful. Raylan blinked. What was that? The girl pulled her hand back, afraid she did something wrong. No, he said quickly. It's okay. He picked her up gently, wrapped her in a thermal blanket, and carried her back to the Sparrow. Back on his ship, Raylan placed her in a soft seat and gave her water. She looked at it carefully before drinking. Can you tell me your name? He asked. She looked at him, but didn't speak. Instead, she pulled a small piece of metal from her pocket and began drawing on the fogged glass of the window. She drew a symbol, a star surrounded by a circle. Then, a line through the circle. Raylan stared at it. He had seen that before. Somewhere in an old file about ancient alien warnings. Where did you learn that? He asked. The girl stayed silent. Raylan sat back, trying to think. Why was she alone in a destroyed ship? What destroyed it? Why that symbol? He looked back at her. She had fallen asleep, her tiny hands still gripping the blanket tightly. Raylan whispered to himself, what did I just bring on board? Then, something odd happened. His control panel flickered. Lights dimmed. The engine hummed strangely. Raylan jumped up and checked the system. No damage, no problems, but the energy readings were off the chart. Like something was charging up from the inside. He turned to look at the girl. The mark she drew on the window now glowed softly in the dark. Raylan stared at her. She wasn't just a survivor. She was something more. And someone, or something, might be coming for her. As the stars drifted outside and space whispered its endless silence, Raylan realized one thing. This was no rescue mission. was the beginning of something much bigger. Something no one was ready for. Asterisk space moved quietly around the Sparrow, but something inside the ship had changed. Raylan could feel it. Not just in the air, in the silence. In the way his ship breathed. Something felt alive. He looked at the alien girl still sleeping under the blanket. Her tiny chest rose and fell softly. She looked peaceful now. But Raylan knew peace in space never lasted long. The control panel lights blinked strangely again. Once, then twice. Systems that were normal yesterday were now acting different. Not broken, just off. Raylan checked the ship's data logs. Power levels were increasing, slowly, quietly, like something inside the ship was creating its own energy. But how? His eyes moved back to the girl. He decided to send a private message to command. Found a young alien survivor. Ship was wrecked. No signs of life except her. Bringing her in for safety. Captain Raylan, Sector 9. He didn't tell them everything. Not about the symbol, not about the energy spike. Something told him not to. Hours passed. The girl woke up but still didn't speak. She just watched him, like she was trying to understand him without words. Raylan offered her food. She didn't eat. She just stared out the window. At the stars. Then something strange happened. The tools on the workbench began floating, slowly, one by one. Not high, just an inch off the surface. Raylan stared. What the hell? The girl didn't even blink. Like she had seen it before. Like it was normal. And then the tools fell. Clang. Clatter. Raylan rushed to check gravity levels. All normal. He looked at her again. You did that, didn't you? The girl turned to him and pointed at his chest. Confused, he looked down. What? My jacket? She shook her head. Then, very slowly, she pointed at his heart. Raylan stepped back. What was she trying to say? She got up. Walked to the ship's clear glass table. Took a finger, dipped it in water, and drew the same glowing symbol again. The circle, the star, the line. But this time she added something new. She drew 2 dots. And then a spiral. Raylan's stomach turned. He had seen that spiral once, a long time ago during military training. It was an old warning signal found on a ruined alien base on Mars. No one ever figured out what it meant, only that it pulsed energy. And then the base exploded 48 hours later. Raylan took a breath. Okay, who are you really? The girl just looked down. Her hands started glowing faintly again, a soft silver light under her skin. Then she whispered her first word in broken English. Hide. Raylan froze. Hide from who? She shook her head. Not who, what? Suddenly, the Sparrow's warning system screamed. Incoming object detected. No ID. Fast approach. Raylan jumped into the pilot's seat. One ship. No call sign. No signal. It hovered just outside radar range. Like it wanted to stay hidden. He magnified the screen. It was black, smooth, shaped like a blade. The girl saw it, and her face turned pale. She backed away, covered her ears, fell to the floor, and shook. Raylan knelt beside her. Do you know that ship? She nodded fast. Then she grabbed his hand and said a full sentence, though broken and heavy. If it see me, I vanish. Raylan's blood ran cold. What do they want from you? He asked. She looked at him with glowing eyes full of pain. Not want, they end. Raylan stared at the dark ship again. No lights. No signs. Just watching. He knew one thing for sure now. Whoever was in that ship wasn't here to rescue her. They were hunting her, and he had just made the Sparrow their target. Raylan turned off all lights, powered down the ship. Activated stealth mode. Whispered to her, don't worry, they won't find you. She looked up at him. For the first time. She smiled, but behind that small smile, there was something else, something bigger. Power, fear, a secret too big for a child to carry. Raylan stared out the window one last time. He was no longer flying alone. He had a silent passenger, and she was about to change everything. Darkness was no longer empty. The black ship outside didn't move, didn't flash lights, didn't speak. It just floated. Watching, Raylan stared at the screen. The sensors couldn't lock onto it. It was like a ghost, there but not there. Inside the Sparrow, the air felt heavier, as if the ship itself knew something was wrong. The girl, Saleya, she had finally spoken her name, sat silently in the corner, hugging her knees. Her eyes glowed faintly in the dark. She didn't cry. She didn't speak, but Raylan could feel her fear. It was thick in the room like smoke. "What do they want from you?" he asked again. She didn't answer with words. She pointed at the dark ship. Then she tapped her own chest. And finally, she made a slicing motion across her neck. Raylan understood. They didn't want to capture her. They wanted her gone, forever. Suddenly, the Sparrow's outside lights flickered, just once. Raylan jumped. He hadn't touched anything. The power was still off. How could the lights? He looked at the dark ship again. It was closer, closer than before. He hadn't seen it move. No engine flare. No sound, but it was closer now. "Damn it," he muttered. "They're testing me." Raylan powered up minimal thrusters, no weapons, just adrift. Maybe he could slip away. Saleya's eyes widened. She shook her head fast. "No run," she whispered. "They smell fear." Raylan frowned. "They smell fear?" She pointed at her head, then her chest. "Not nose, mind." Raylan felt a chill crawl up his spine. Who were these things? Minutes passed like hours. Then, tap, tap, tap. A sound echoed through the ship. Metal, from outside, like something had landed on the hull. Raylan grabbed his sidearm. The girl stayed still, like she had turned to stone. He checked the outer camera. Nothing. Then the screen turned black. All of them. Just black. Then a white symbol appeared on the main screen. A perfect match to the glowing mark Saleya had drawn earlier. A circle. A star. A line. But this one was bleeding. Digital red lines ran down the screen like blood. Raylan smashed the control panel. "Get off my ship." But the screen didn't listen. Then a voice, broken, digital, like 1,000 whispers stitched together, spoke. "Return the Star Child, or be unmade." Raylan's breath caught. Saleya stood up slowly. Her body glowed brighter now. Not just her skin, her veins. Like a small star lived inside her. She whispered, almost too quiet to hear. "They are the Black Mind. They destroy what they don't understand." Raylan looked at her. "And you?" She raised her hand. The mark on her arm pulsed. The spark. Before he could ask more, the ship shook hard. A strike, not from outside, but from within. Something was trying to tear through the ship's wall. Raylan grabbed Saleya's hand. "Come on." They ran to the emergency escape pod, a tiny, cramped metal egg barely big enough for two. Raylan launched it manually. The pod shot out from the Sparrow, spinning silently into deep space. Behind them, the black ship opened, not like doors, like jaws. It swallowed the Sparrow whole. Raylan stared in horror. His ship, his life, gone, like a pebble into the sea. Inside the escape pod, alarms were quiet. No voice, no signal. Just cold silence and blinking lights. Raylan sat still, breathing heavy. Saleya held his hand tightly. "I don't understand what's happening," he said, staring into the void. Saleya looked at him, eyes glowing like moons. "You saved me," she said slowly. "Now they fear you too." Raylan laughed bitterly. "Great. I was just a cargo pilot 2 days ago." She tilted her head. "Now you are protector." Raylan looked out the window. The stars blinked like eyes in the dark. "Then I better learn how to fight monsters." Out in the distance, something pulsed, a second signal. Different than the black ship, softer, warmer. Raylan looked at the radar. Another ship. unknown type. No weapons visible, but moving toward them. He looked at Essa, A-L-E-A. She smiled. My people. Maybe. Raylan didn't trust maybe. But he also didn't have a choice. As the pod floated toward the unknown ship, Raylan whispered to himself, if the dark is watching us, then maybe we need to become the light. Asterisk, the escape pod drifted like a lost seed through space. Behind it, nothing but silence, and a black shadow where the sparrow used to be. Raylan had lost everything, his ship, his home, his old life. But he had gained one thing, the girl who might hold the key to something far bigger. Saleya sat next to him, glowing softly like a star trapped in human form. Her eyes were calm, but her hands were shaking. Outside, a new ship approached. Slow, careful, silent, Raylan checked the pod's limited sensors. Unknown origin, no weapons detected, organic metal. Living structure. He frowned. That's not Earth tech. The pod beeped once. The ship had locked onto them. Raylan looked at Saleya. She stared at the approaching ship with quiet hope and a flicker of fear. Is that your people? He asked. She nodded once. I think so, but not all Naren are kind. The ship opened like a flower. Petals of shining silver light folded back, revealing a docking chamber made of smooth, glowing stone. It felt alive. The pod slipped inside and gently touched the ground. No loud clanks, no alarms, just peace. Raylan stood slowly, hand on his sidearm. Let's meet the neighbors. The pod door opened. Warm air touched his face. It smelled like stars and ash. Then figures appeared. Tall, slender, glowing eyes. They wore long robes that moved like water. Their skin shimmered like Saleya's, but their expressions were hard, cold, watching Raylan like a virus. The tallest one stepped forward. Her voice was music and warning all at once. You brought her here. Raylan nodded. She was alone. I saved her. The woman looked at Saleya. She carries power not meant to awaken. Raylan stepped in front of the girl. I don't care what she carries. She's a child. She was crying in the wreckage of her people. And now something wants to erase her. So yeah, I brought her. A moment of silence. Then the woman raised her hand. The walls shimmered. A massive screen appeared, showing the black ship, now splitting into 3. The black mind has multiplied. She sighed. They burn planets to erase Naren memory. They fear our light. Saleya stepped forward, shaking. I can stop them. The room went silent. The woman turned, eyes wide. No, you're too young. If you use your full power now, you won't survive it. Raylan looked at Saleya. You said you were a spark. What does that mean? She looked up at him. I am the last piece, the last of my mother's light. She sent me away before the burn. The burn? The night the stars turned black. My planet didn't die. It was erased. Suddenly, the ship jolted. Boom. A shockwave hit them. The black mind had found them. Raylan grabbed Saleya's hand. We need to go, now. The woman shook her head. No ship is faster, no place is safe. Raylan looked around. No place? Fine, then we fight. The woman stared. You're just a human. You don't even understand what's coming. Raylan stepped closer. I don't have to understand it. I just have to stand in front of it and make sure it doesn't get to her. Saleya's eyes glowed brighter. She stepped between Raylan and the woman. I choose him. He listens. He feels. He doesn't run. Then you will burn, the woman whispered. Saleya nodded. Better to burn than be forgotten. The Naren ship lit up. Its core, silent for years, began to pulse again. Saleya stepped into the chamber. At the center, Raylan tried to follow, but a force stopped him. Only light may enter, the woman said. He slammed his fist against the barrier. She can't do this alone. The woman looked at him. She's not. You gave her strength no one else could, you believed. Inside the chamber, Salia closed her eyes. Memories of her mother, her planet, the screaming, the black fire, all returned. She let go of fear. Her body lifted off the floor. Her voice echoed through the ship. Raylan. If I don't come back, remember me as more than a weapon. Raylan shouted, I'll remember you as the bravest being I've ever met. Light exploded from the ship. A wave of silver fire surged outward, fast as thought, hitting the black mine before they could multiply again. One ship shattered. Another melted. The third twisted and turned, then vanished into dark space. Silence returned. Raylan rushed into the chamber. Salia lay on the ground, breathing faintly. Her glow was dim, but alive. He picked her up gently. You did it, he whispered. She opened one eye. No, we did. But far, far away. In a galaxy untouched, the black mine began to speak again, and this time, they had a name. Raylan. Raylan stood in silence, staring into a sky that wasn't his. The Naren moon they landed on glowed with soft blue light. The surface was glassy, quiet, and scattered with ruins, broken towers, sunken gates, strange symbols carved into the stone. This place had once been alive. Now it was just memory. He looked down at Salia, resting in a glowing bed of energy. The elders called it the resting light, a healing cradle for beings born from stars. She hadn't woken up since the blast. Her body was dim now, no glow in her hands, no shimmer in her hair. Just silence. Raylan didn't know what scared him more, the black mind returning, or losing her. The Naren elder, the one who led the others, walked beside him. Her name was Vera. She looked ancient, but her voice still moved like wind through flame. You care for her? Raylan didn't answer right away. Yeah, I do. Vera looked up at the starless sky. She is the last spark, the last voice of a people who once sang to suns. Raylan frowned. What does that mean? She turned to him. Let me show you. She led him to a deep cavern beneath the moon's surface. It was filled with light crystals and floating scrolls of energy. In the center stood a huge wall, like a history book carved in stone. With a wave of her hand, the wall came alive. Glowing images danced across it. Raylan watched in awe. Planets, glowing with golden cities. Beings made of light flying through space without ships. Stars bending toward them like children running to their mothers. This was the Naren, Vera said. We did not build weapons. We shaped light. We shared memory. We whispered to galaxies. She pointed to a dark shape that crept into the image. Until they came. The image twisted. A black fog spilled. Across stars, cities turned to ash. Light turned to silence. The black mind was not born from hatred. It was born from fear. From those who could not understand what they could not control. Raylan stared. They were us? Vera nodded. Slowly. Not your kind exactly, but close. They had flesh, curiosity, machines, and fear. The image zoomed in on a baby, glowing, small, floating in a crystal. Salia. She was born during the final fall. Her mother gave her a gift no other. Had memory locked in her light. All of us, our songs, our truth, live inside her. Raylan whispered, That's why they want her gone. Vera nodded. If the truth survives, the lie of the black mind ends. Raylan turned away. His hands shook. She's just a kid. No, she was. But she is becoming more. Back on the surface, Salia opened her eyes. Her breath came slow. Her voice was barely a whisper. Ray, where? He ran to her side. I'm here. She reached up and touched his face. I saw everything. My people, my mother, you. Raylan held her hand. You don't have to carry all this alone. She looked at him. You gave me something they never could. What? Choice. Suddenly, the ground shook. Not an attack. A signal. A piece of the ancient ruin lit up. A hidden chamber opened, revealing something no one expected. A human. Suit. Old, dusty, rusted. But not just any suit. It had the Earth insignia. Raylan stepped back. What the hell? Vera stared in shock. Impossible. That suit is older than your planet's. Memory. Raylan walked to it. There were words carved on its chest plate. 2 words. Forgive US. Vera touched the stone next to it. A hologram flickered to life. A human face. Tired. Sad. If you're hearing this. We failed. We were told the Naren were dangerous. We followed orders. We didn't ask why, but I saw them. They weren't monsters. They were beautiful. The message faded. Raylan looked at Saleya. We did this. She didn't answer. She didn't need to. The Black Mind hadn't created the war. Human fear had. The truth was buried in darkness, and now, the last spark had uncovered it. But truth comes with a cost, and far away. In a dead system, the Black Mind was no longer hunting Saleya. Now they were hunting Earth. Asterisk, the stars looked colder now. Raylan stood outside the Naren Moon's temple, staring into the sky. He wasn't looking for beauty. He was looking for death, and it was coming. The Black Mind had changed direction. They were no longer circling lost galaxies. They were moving toward Earth. Fast. The message from the ancient human recording still echoed in Raylan's mind. We followed orders. We didn't ask why. Now the truth was clear. The Naren weren't destroyed by aliens. They were erased. Because humanity once believed fear was safer than understanding. Saleya stood inside the great crystal chamber, surrounded by light. But something was different about her now. Her eyes no longer just glowed, they burned. Her voice echoed not in her throat, but through the walls. She was not just remembering her people. She was becoming them. Vera watched from a distance. The memory seed is blooming, she whispered. But she cannot stay here. Raylan turned. Why not? Because she is no longer just one. She is all of them, and the galaxy will feel her return. Good, Raylan said. Let them feel it. Even Earth? Vera asked. Raylan hesitated. Saleya stepped out of the chamber. The light followed her. Raylan stared. You're different. She nodded. I am Naren now, not just blood, but memory. Their voices live inside me. Are you still you? Saleya smiled softly. Because of you, yes. She raised her hand. A small seed of light floated in her palm. This is what they feared, not power, but memory. They erased my people to erase truth. But truth cannot be burned. Raylan looked at the stars. The Black Mind is heading to Earth, she nodded. They will silence the last piece of the lie. We can't let that happen. Saleya, look down. There's a way to stop them, one final time. Tell me. I become the light core, a living wave. I can burn away the Black Mind, but I will not survive it. Raylan's breath caught. There has to be another way. She looked at him gently. I was never meant to live forever. Only long enough to remind the galaxy what it forgot. Suddenly, the temple shook. An alert flared. Vera stepped forward. The Black Mind has entered Earth's solar system. 7 ships, no warning. Raylan clenched his fists. He looked at Saleya. You want to burn for a planet that betrayed your people? She looked at him. No, I want to burn for you. The Naren moon began to light up. Old tech long asleep began to rise from the ground. Giant spires, long buried under sand, activated with deep hums. A ship older than memory emerged from under the moon's crust. It shimmered with starlight. Shaped like a bird in mid-flight, Raylan stepped aboard with Saleya. Is this thing space-worthy? It remembers how to fly, she said. That's not comforting. As they left orbit, Earth appeared in the distance. So small, so unaware, so fragile. Rayl opened a signal to Earth Command. This is Captain Raylan. You're being targeted by a force you don't understand. You need to evacuate low orbit. Now, Raylan, you're dead. The Sparrow, forget the Sparrow. Listen to me. They're coming. He closed the channel before they could argue. The Black Mine's ships arrived like shadows with teeth. No sound, no warning. Just black fire spreading across satellites and comes. Earth's defenses didn't even scratch them. Raylan and Saleya flew directly into the heart of the invasion. Saleya's glow became blinding. The ship began to change around her, shifting from metal to light. Her heartbeat sensed with the ship's core. Raylan, she said, voice shaking. You must leave the ship now. No, you cannot follow me where I go. I said no. If you stay, you'll burn with me. Raylan touched her shoulder. Then I burn with you. Saleya looked at him. Why? Because you're not the last of your kind. I'm not. He shook his head. You changed me too. Outside, the Black Mine closed in. Saleya rose, floating in the center of the ship. Her body dissolved into pure energy. The ship opened like a star splitting. And then, light, a wave of memory. Of love. Of songs once sung to suns. It wasn't fire that burned the Black Mine. It was truth. Each ship was hit not with heat, but with remembrance. They saw what they had destroyed. They felt the pain. And they broke apart, screaming in silence. Raylan felt the light pass through him. Saw Saleya as a baby. Then her mother, then cities of gold. Then the first time she smiled at him in the wreck, and then nothing. Only stars. Raylan woke up floating above Earth. Alone. No ship. No fire, no noise. Just a soft crystal in his hand, glowing faintly. He whispered, You're not forgotten. The stars were quiet again. Raylan floated alone in the cold. Emptiness of space. The soft crystal in his hand pulsed with a gentle light. Saleya's last gift. He didn't know how long he had been drifting. But he wasn't afraid. Because inside that crystal was something greater than him. The memory of a lost world. The hope of a new beginning. Back on Earth, things had changed. The story of the Black Mine was no longer a secret. People talked about the girl who was more than a survivor. A light in the dark. A reminder that fear could be beaten by understanding. Raylan's warning had saved many. Earth's leaders now prepared not just for war, but for peace. For the first time, humans looked to the stars. Not with fear, but with hope. Suddenly, a faint signal. Raylan's hand tightened around the crystal. The signal grew stronger. Then, in the distance, a ship appeared. Not like the cold metal vessels they had fought before. This ship was alive, warm, shimmering. It was the Naran. Saleya's people returned. Raylan watched as the ship landed softly on Earth's soil. From its doors stepped beings of light. Tall, radiant, smiling. Saleya was not gone. She was home, and she had brought her people back. Raylan stepped forward as they approached. One being reached out and touched his shoulder. Her voice was like the wind through stars. You saved her. You saved us all. You are no longer just human. You are family. For the first time in a long time, Raylan smiled. He looked up at the sky. The stars seemed brighter. He whispered, Maybe home isn't just a place. Maybe it's who you choose to become. And so, a new chapter began. Humans and Naran together. Exploring the universe not as enemies, but as friends. Because sometimes, all it takes is one act of kindness to change everything.